Hi, what's going on, y'all? This is OJ back with a quick video, and I'm gonna be yapping about some inactive fighters in the UFC. All right, this is the era of inactivity where top contenders are, for some reason or another, refusing to fight more than once a year. I don't know why that's the case. For professional fighters who literally depend on fighting for their paycheck, like you would think they'd be more interested in fighting, but I guess not. So I'm gonna be ranting about these six individuals that haven't fought in quite some time. Now, keep in mind there are more fighters I can yap about, but these six just pissed me off more than anything else. So, without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. All right, so the first fighter I'm going to talk about, Arnold Allen. Like he's last fought Giga on July 27th, 2024. And if you don't know how long that is, it has been a year and 2 months since he has last fought. Right? And the frustrating thing is I love Arnold Allen. I know some of you guys who are watching this video right now who've subscribed much earlier into this channel know how much I love Arnold Allen. All right. He brings in the tism in a lot of fighters that I enjoy. But yeah, you are in serious talks for a title shot. All right. You can fight Aljamain Sterling and potentially be next up for a title shot because Movsar Evloev, who I'm gonna cover later in this video, the UFC doesn't like him, and Arnold Allen, all he has to do is just beat someone else, and he's back in the title mix. But unfortunately, it's been at least over a year since he's fought. I don't know when Arnold Allen's ever gonna come back, and it just feels very frustrating to me because I know that he's been talking about having a lot of injuries, but it's not like he's specifically said what exactly. And I'm not honestly too sure if Arnold Allen's really gonna have enough time in his career. Like at this point, he's like what 34 years old. He's not a spring chicken. So if you need a title shot right now, now's the time. I don't think he's gonna get any better, or I don't think he's gonna get any more title shots after this. So I want to see Arnold Allen fight. He's not itching for a title shot, which I'm actually thankful for at least. But you gotta actually fight more than once a year, so like we can actually see. I don't know. We just want to see you fight. All right, you're a fun fighter, Arnold Allen, but yeah, you gotta fight more than once a year, please. All right, now up next we got Movsar Evloev. Now, unlike Arnold Allen, I don't care for Movsar Evloev. All right, but he's also a big problem to this inactivity era we're going through. Right, he's last fought Aljamain Sterling on December 7th, 2024, and that's been like 9 months since his last fight. All right, I know he's scheduled to fight Aaron Pico sometime in July, but Movsar Evloev pulled out. So as far as I'm concerned, he's been inactive for like 9 months now. And the thing that frustrates me about Movsar Evloev is the fact that he's always on Twitter talking about, oh, I deserve this title shot first. And to be fair, he's beaten more top guys than anybody else in the division right now. But the reason why people are campaigning for Leroy Murphy is because Leroy Murphy, even though he's also not the most exciting fighter on the roster, he fights very often. Like I remember Leroy Murphy fighting Josh Emmett on April. And then like 4 months later, he's turning around to fight Aaron Pico. And now 4 months later, there's talks about him fighting Alexander Volkanovski. That's potentially three fights in 1 year. When is the last time Movsar Evloev has ever taken more than three fights a year? Okay, I know he's taken some like maybe like two fights in a year back when he was making his come up, but over the last like several years now, I don't think he's taken a fight more than once a year. So it's very frustrating to see Movsar Evloev in this situation. If anything, he's kind of inadvertently creating a logjam, right? Because if Movsar Evloev, like, let's say he had fought Aaron Pico, or maybe the UFC, you could chalk it up to them and say, "Oh, we're gonna just give you a title shot." Like, we're going to see more active activity in the featherweight division. But because the UFC doesn't like Evloev, and also Evloev doesn't fight in the first place, right? He barely fights once a year at this point. It just creates a logjam of sorts where, like, guys who Movsar Evloev beat, they're also on their little run. And now, like, what? are we gonna give like Aljamain Sterling another title shot before Movsar Evloev jumps in? Like it feels silly, but at this point, that's like a genuine possibility because Aljamain Sterling, say what you will about his fighting style and all that, and the fact that he lost to Movsar Evloev, at least Sterling tries to get matchups made. So Movsar Evloev, in my opinion, like yeah, you gotta fight like by the end of this year. Otherwise, the UFC is just gonna perma freeze your ass, and you're never gonna get a title shot in the featherweight division. All right, now Arman Tsarukyan here. We got him last fighting Charles Oliveira on April 13th, 2024, and it's been 1 year and 5 months since his last fight. Kind of insane that he's still gallivanting around like random BJJ tournaments, like grappling 50-year-old Benson Henderson of all people for some reason. And the thing that I don't understand about Arman Tsarukyan is why does he think he's gonna get a title shot? All right. He pulled out of his fight against Islam Makhachev. All right. Say what you will about, oh, it was because he missed weight or because he got injured or something like that. The thing I don't understand is Charles Oliveira, right? He pulled out of his title fight against Islam Makhachev for UFC 294 because he got a cut over his eye. And the UFC said, we need you to fight one more fight before you're in talks for a title shot. Right? And that was fair. Right? That's why Charles Oliveira for Arman Tsarukyan at UFC 300 in a arguable win for Oliveira. All right. And Tsarukyan for some reason, thinks that he's gonna get the next title shot without doing any of that. All right, the UFC offered this guy Mateusz Gamrot the fight, and Arman Tsarukyan's like, "No, that's too disrespectful. Like, you're not in a position to talking about disrespectful matchups or not, right? And also, it's not completely unreasonable for Gamrot to fight you. Right? Gamrot technically has a win over Tsarukyan, even though you could say that Tsarukyan should have won 4 rounds to 1 in their fight the first time. Like, Gamrot has a technical win over Tsarukyan, and Gamrot's within the top 7 or 8. I don't think it's that unreasonable for Tsarukyan to fight Mateusz Gamrot, but for some reason, people say that, oh, it's just because they don't want him to fight Ilya Topuria. Like, no, Dana White and the UFC matchmakers had this stance for as long as January, so it's been like not 8 months since, and Tsarukyan just for some reason decided to not try to fight anybody within that time, while at the same time complaining that everyone's ducking him. I don't understand this. Right? It's not like he offered his name up in the hat for any potential number one contenders fight. Right? Apparently, he's supposed to fight Dan Hooker and Qatar, but I'm not really too sure if that fight's gonna happen. So until there's an official announcement, I am going to keep bitching about Arman Tsarukyan and his inactivity because at this point it's just getting ridiculous. All right, now up next we're gonna talk about Justin Gaethje. He last fought Rafael Fiziev on March 8th of 2025. So it hasn't been that long since Gaethje fought, right? It's only been like what 6 months, all right. But the thing that's frustrating about Justin Gaethje is he's deliberately said that if he's not getting the title shot, he's just gonna sit on his ass and not fight, right? Let me tell you something, Justin Gaethje. You're not getting the next title shot. All right, Max Holloway literally slept you. The guy who slept Max Holloway right after sleeping you then proceeded to hold the belt for the lightweight division. There's zero interest in a Justin Gaethje title fight, so he's probably going to need to fight one more, right? And he can fight Paddy Pimblett, who's also in talks for a title shot. He can fight uh Arman Tsarukyan, who some people think it should be the number one contender. But the fact that Justin Gaethje isn't taking any of these fights and is just rather just staying on his ass and not doing anything, again, it's very frustrating. And it's inadvertently creating another logjam in the lightweight division. All right. We already have Tsarukyan's dumbass who hasn't fought for like a year and a half right now. He's still gallivanting across the world rather than trying to book a fight for himself. And now Justin Gaethje is following suit. So it's going to be harder and harder for guys outside of the top 5 to even get like a potential number one contenders match or like a title elimination bout, like Justin Gaethje is inadvertently creating a second log to jam up the lightweight division, and it's ridiculous because yeah, Justin Gaethje at this point, like you're not like the most what do you call exciting fighter on in the division. Right? He's very fun, but at this point, it's like not many people care, right? I don't think people are gonna say, "Oh, it's the end of the world that Justin Gaethje isn't getting a title shot," unless you're like a hardcore Justin Gaethje fan. Because realistically, you've had like 2 or 3 title shots, and you've lost them all, and you really aren't gonna fight any like upcoming prospects to prove that you're still a top contender. So I guess Justin Gaethje's just not gonna fight. All right, that's what I'm gonna take from this. And if he's not gonna fight, then I'd say get him out the rankings because why is he still here holding on to a top 5 spot? All right, now up next we got Dan Hooker. Now I don't see that many people talking about Dan Hooker, but when I tell you about this guy's history, you're gonna be like, wait, how has he not been scrutinized more for this? Like he last fought Matej Gamrot on August 17th in 2024. Right? That's been a year and a month since he's last fought. How has he not been scrutinized for this? Right? I know he's supposed to fight Justin Gaethje for UFC 313 on March, but then he pulled out due to a hand injury. He is supposed to fight Arman Tsarukyan, but that's allegedly, and that's not going to be happening until the end of November. So once again, as far as I'm concerned, Dan Hooker, he needs to get in there. I don't care that he's on a 4 fight win streak. Get him in there with somebody. All right. You can book him. I don't know. You could probably book him with like Holloway, assuming that Sarukian decides to pull out or something like that. Maybe they actually go through with the Sarukian matchup. Would I be interested? Yeah, I would. All right, I would pick Sarukian to win, but there are chances for Dan Hooker. So yeah, Dan Hooker, like just get in the cage at some point. We really love to see you fight. All right, his fighting style is absolutely fun to watch. It's just unfortunate since I don't know for past couple of years now, he's not been the most active fighter. At best, fighting once a year, and it's a darn shame because if he gets like one more win, he's also in talks for a potential title shot. Last but not least, I'm gonna cover the most egregious perpetrator for this inactivity era, Shavkat Rakhmonov. Now listen, I am a D1 Shavkat Rakhmonov glazer, right? But this is simply ridiculous. He last fought Ian Gary on December 7th of 2024, and it's been 9 months since he's last fought. And he's talking about getting a title shot, right? He's talking about how, oh, I'm not gonna entertain any interim fights or any like fights in between because it just doesn't make sense and I don't want to waste my energy. Yeah, like as much as I love you, Shavkat Rakhmonov, I'm gonna say this. Yeah, you're not getting the next title shot. You're probably gonna have to fight like Sean Brady for a number 1 contenders fight. And I don't think Shavkat Rakhmonov is really entertaining that though because there's been no news regarding Shavkat Rakhmonov. Right? There's been rumors of him fighting Sean Brady, but nothing's been confirmed. And until something's been confirmed, yeah, I'm just gonna keep bitching about Shavkat Rakhmonov at this point because although he's one of my favorite fighters ever, he needs to fight. And if he doesn't, then yeah, you can skip him for any title shot. Like I remember a time when I was complaining about people trying to campaign for an Ian Gary title shot. But if Ian Gary wins like one more fight, you know what I mean? Like I don't think it's gonna be that ridiculous. I can't keep defending bro if he's not gonna fight any top contender before a title shot and then just sit on his ass and talk about, oh, I'm going to be fighting for only the title and nothing else. All right. Like Sean Brady also like arguably deserves a title shot. So why don't you fight Sean Brady? Right? You can also fight Bilal Muhammad, who just lost the belt to what do you call it? Jack Della Maddalena. So if you beat Bilal Muhammad in more impressive fashion than JDM did, well then there's your title shot. So Shavkat Rakhmonov, alright, I love you, but yeah, you need to fight soon. Otherwise, I can't defend the your inactivity. And yeah, I can't be campaigning for your title shot. All right, that's gonna be it for today's video. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. But other than that, though, leave a comment down below if you agree or not that it's getting ridiculous that these six fighters haven't fought in such a long time. But otherwise, I will probably see you guys later. Peace.